Hi, this is Justin Lin. I'm a filmmaker and I'm currently finishing my fifth Fast and Furious film, F9. Here we're watching one of the most famous chases in cinema from Bullitt. What I love about the sequence is that there is no music. The choice of really having the engine noises, the engine sounds, be the score. And also, what I love is that, we're at an age where I think everything is cut, the shots are cut so tight. Um, Here, this sequence, you really get a sense of environment. It feels very authentic. Everything's practical. You see a camera that's on the car, they're not speeding it up. And you actually see Steve McQueen driving a car. I think that's one of for filmmakers doing action sequences, that's kind of one of the gold standard shots that we always try to get, because it's obviously very dangerous to put an actor in a high-speed vehicle and to be able to design a shot that feels effortless and have them in the car. It takes a lot. And here, obviously, Steve McQueen is a great driver. And, they're able to really kind of take us into the sequence. Here we're seeing, the sequence from French Connection. It has a similar approach to Bullitt in that there is no score. I love the fact that it's trying to kind of take you into the moment. There's obviously two narratives going. One of the things I like about this sequence is that it's introducing a point of view of the car. They literally are mounting cameras on the cars and they're just running them through the streets. And there's that's one of the things that I've learned, that with all the technology, you cannot fake practical, just speed. There's something about the physics of having a car going at high speed, that even if you try to replicate that in CG, you just don't get the rush. Yeah, this sequence from Terminator 2, I think James Cameron and the crew, they did a couple things that I think was brilliant. One of the things in the construct of this sequence that I love is how controlled it is. And this is to kind of set the tone of the two Terminators. The fact that, they're so unfazed in the midst of all this craziness, and action, there's a calmness to it. And that when you see this, everything that every shot, it's so controlled. And it really does tonally come together. Here, this is this long lens shot of the truck coming down. That to me was great because it really kind of sets you up with the close up of John Connor, and to be able to get that sense of distance and the lens choices here, it was so figured out. And it's just one of those things where you don't know why it works, but when I break it down, I could tell you it's not by accident that it's so great. That you could tell that James Cameron, Arnold had a great relationship with the crew, and there was a lot of trust, because when you go in these sequences, you're trying to challenge each other, and there's a lot of danger, and there's a lot of prep, and you're always pushing each other to see if you can just kind of eke out a few more frames. So here we have the sequence from Fast Five. What was important about this, and it was a big, moment for us as a franchise, is the decision to actually do this practically. There were a lot of talks about, hey, let's do a CG vault and this and that, and I just didn't want to do that. I think that was going to take out all the fun, to what we can potentially accomplish. And so I remember having the stunt guys take out two cars, and we built a frame and we just pulled it with the cable. And the footage that was coming back was unbelievable. It was taking out sidewalks. And by the way, there's is my son right here. He's a year and a half old. That was actually one of the hardest shots to get, because to drag a vault and have a 1-year-old trying to look at it, that was take three. So we actually had a vault, and the two cars dragging it, we had a vault where it was drivable. It was actually a vehicle that, for certain shots, we would have that. And then there was a light vault. And so, as you can see here, it made all the difference in the world, because it is so insane to to have this sequence of two cars dragging a vault, and the choice to say, hey, let's really plan this out and do everything practically, and let's build the sandbox, let's build the rules and how we're going to do that, because there are a lot of shots that was designed, but you just didn't know how the vault was going to interact with the street, with the concrete, and I'm proud of that sequence because it helped kind of redefine the franchise. So here we're seeing the chase sequence from rhythm section. Um, I love this sequence because it's a decision by the director that you're just going to stay with the character in real time. The choice to be able to put that in, put the camera in the passenger side, I thought was a great choice. And I think there's probably a couple cuts, but to be able to design a shot where you're in real time and you're not seeing the cuts, it does kind of bring back the choices of Bullitt and French Connection, in that there is a sincerity to the sequence. Because I always feel like when we edit, it's a cheat. It's literally a cheat. And so I always, when I work with my editors, we always say that if we're gonna cut, even if it's, within a second, we have to earn that cut. And here the choice of not at least appearing that there is any cuts in the sequence is important, because it's telling you why you're in this situation with the character.